If she had only been ugly.
Welcome to Don Irrera live from the Laugh Factory. Arden Myrin here, not spelled in the traditional Marine way.
No, there's a crazy Y in there.
This kid just said to me, "Boy, she's got a lot of credits."
Yeah.
You do have a lot of credits.
Yes, yeah. It is shocking.
Well, with your limited talent.
I mean, when you have as little talent as I have, it's.
You know what I love to see.
But I love to act.
Do you?
No, well, I mean, yeah, I do. I do.
Me too. I miss that. I miss that about stand-up.
You do?
Well, because I'd rather play basketball than tennis.
Right.
I'd rather be with people, but stand-up is much more lucrative to a point. You know, I mean, not if you're getting big parts or a series or something. Obviously.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it is.
How long did you do MTV for? I mean,
MadTV. I was on the last 4 seasons with it was Bobby Lee.
Oh boy, my baby, my bouncing baby boy.
He is. He's actually built very much like my dad, and both of them are like grown men that are completely adorable and built like babies.
He's built like my mom.
Is he?
My mom has, well, his tits are a little bigger.
He's got, well, I've seen Bobby Lee naked, I think, more times than I've seen if you've ever met Bobby Lee, you've probably seen him naked.
Well, he was, I didn't take anything off here, but he was out of his mind.
Was he?
He was the only one, well, David Spade got up.
Yeah.
And he like did a fireside chat kind of thing over here.
Yeah.
But he was, David's so calm.
Right.
And he was just the opposite. He's on his knees. He's walking on his knees. He's hitting the thing. He's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, Bobby and I have like toured around the country together. And
really?
It just gets...
On a MadTV tour?
They did us it was like the world's worst executed tour of all time. Me and Bobby and Jordan Peele, they sent on a college tour and
that's a nightmare anyway.
Oh my God, it was a nightmare. And the college, and they only put... and we were with Spike Ferriston, who had a talk show at the time, also on Fox. And there was 4 of us on tour, but they only put Spike and Bobby's face on the T-shirts. So it's like you could spring for like the extra 2 people, and then we would show up.
Couldn't put you on the back.
Yeah, it couldn't even just be like a little like hand pointing out. And Jordan, who's on Key and Peele now, is like, so he's such a famous stoner, like that he couldn't travel with pot, so we would have to ask from the audience, like to ask the college students, like, can somebody get Jordan high after the show? And he doesn't have a driver's license, so he would just basically get captured.
Have a driver's license.
He's from New York. He never got a driver's license. Wow. And he would just get captured by sketch groups, like all over the country. He would just disappear, and they would give him pot, but then tell him how terrible MadTV was all night. Like that was the payment. Was like, what was wrong with MadTV? And then they'd like dump him off at the airport in the morning. He would just be high and having been berated by sketch groups across the nation.
I did MadTV once.
What did you do?
I did stand-up.
And how was it?
On a Christmas show, I think it was.
Really?
It's all right. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
It was bizarre doing stand-up on a set, on a stage, like that kind of...
Did the audience get it?
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. You weren't on the show. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Was Will Sasso there?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember you.
Yeah. It was a fun, strange, it was an odd, like, ragtag. It was fun. I mean, it was fun to get to work with Bobby and stuff. Like, there were certain parts of her, like, you get to meet new maniacs, which is fun.
Well, he's gotten so much better on stage. I tried to help him with his self-esteem because... he always thought that he was bombing.
Are you serious?
He's like one of those guys, if 3 people aren't laughing, the audience is hysterical, he's bombing.
Right.
It's like it couldn't be them.
He was like that at MadTV too.
Yeah, he's very,
And he was probably, honestly, the most popular. He was, I've never seen him bomb too, which is funny. I've seen him.
He doesn't bomb.
No.
He's too silly to bomb.
I mean.
Yeah, but he thinks he does.
Yeah, we all do. But yes. Do you ever worry about that?
I mean, it's all according to if it's an unfair crowd.
Yeah.
Like I had these Pakistani women once with the saris and the dots in their head. I think they're Pakistani. It wasn't the right crowd for me.
Right, sure.
So I don't consider that a bomb. I just consider it a mismatch.
Sure.
But I don't really think about it. I mean, I don't take. I do so much stand up that it leaves me as soon as it's done.
What is the longest you've gone in the last couple of years without
a laugh?
Without a laugh. without doing stand up. Like, what's the longest stretch you've taken off in the last couple of years?
Oh, not more than a couple of days.
Wow.
Probably when I had bronchitis, probably 3 or 4 days.
That's awesome.
But I even went up with the bronchitis, which is really tough to have a kind of wise guy Italian attitude with a hacking cough.
Yeah.
You know, so I said to him,
The iron lung. The iron lung is coming at you.
well, that was a weird thing, wasn't it?
The iron lung,
Iron
yeah.
lung. I saw a lady did you ever see that thing, 600 pounds, my 600-pound life?
No, but I love stuff like that.
It's so bizarre because the women are all 600 pounds. I
Yeah.
don't know why it's all women. All I saw was women.
Yeah.
And they're basically a prisoner in their own body because they can't even get up and get out of,
Right.
They have to go to the bathroom. Everything, people have to do things for them.
I gotta tell you, you know what? My friend and I were discussing. I feel like if I didn't do this for a living, I can see how you could eventually get cut out of your house. I love food so much.
Really?
I could see how it could happen. You probably don't feel so good when it's happening, but I could see how it could happen.
Could you do longer without sex or food?
Oh God, probably sex.
Really?
How about you?
Am I allowed to eat her? Does that count?
That counts.
Oh, okay.
You can do that.
I don't know. That's a good. I asked the question to you. I don't even know what the answer would be to me. I guess. Oh, are you allowed to jerk off?
You jerk off.
Oh well, then I can't.
Okay, but no jerking off.
Ooh, food. I'd get lightheaded then.
I know. I was talking to some guy. You know, when you do the road, some towns are great, and then some towns are like. There's just sometimes where I could just go crazy, and I like to ask them like, "What do you do?" And so I have friends now who, they're like, "Well, now I like, because I have kids, I have to like write scripts. I have other things I have to do." They're like, "Before."
You have kids?
No. Oh. My friends who have kids, they're like, "I have to like do stuff to pay the bills, so I have to work here today." They're like, "But before, like my guy friends, they're like, literally, I would just masturbate from like 10 in the morning until showtime."
They do?
Yeah, that's what the guys said, that they would just masturbate. Thank you.
Thank you,
We
Greg.
just like masturbate.
Appreciate it. The producer of our show.
Yeah. Hey now. That's what
That's a lot of jerking off.
That's a lot of I think it's a young man.
They don't come that much though.
They just scream and cry.
They jerk it.
Ah!
Wah!
Ah! Yeah, who was it? Dana Gould. I worked at Dana Gould for 2 years, and he was talking about
With who?
Dana Gould.
Oh, I love Dana.
Oh my God! And his,
Where'd you work with him?
I was on the show called Working with him with Fred Savage. It was like on at the height of must-see TV, and Dana would do bits on the set about.
Fred Savage was the younger one?
Fred Savage was
The older one. Who's Ben Savage?
He's the younger one.
Oh, he's the one I work with on
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World, yeah.
Fred was the one that did Wonder Years.
Right.
And then Dana would tease him, and he'd be like, "Well, you can't get your lines out with Daniel Stern reading your thoughts for you," because he was the voiceover on Wonder Years. But Dana would do a bit about pretending to masturbate, but the only way he could get off was calling his mother, who would insult him, and then he'd like hit it like, "Ha!" And just like bite his thumb off and jerk off like that he hated himself so much he needed to call his mother, who would just insult him.
Dana Gould was coming to my house one time with this guy Tom Sawyer, who was a club owner in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I had one of those little doors, like a speakeasy thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I opened it up, and a moth flew in his ear, right? So it was just, we only had 1 second of connection.
Yeah.
I go, "Hey," and he goes, fuck! And he's running around the house.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what to do, so they took him to the hospital.
Oh my God.
They never came back.
Oh my God.
We always laugh when I see that.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. One night I was on stage, and there were these 2 older lesbians here.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was talking to them about, certain movies I've seen, really perverted it.
Yeah.
And one of the most perverted lesbian movies I've ever seen is called The Mother and Daughter Exchange Club.
Yes.
You see that?
No.
Oh.
I wish I had, but I like the title.
Well, it's
well named.
Well, and they have several of them. We were laughing the other night because it was barely legal 139, which means 130 fucking films were made. So some of the women who started that were 18. Now they're in assisted living,
Barely living 139.
But anyway, the one with the women and they bring their daughters and exchange their daughters for sex, and then they sleep with the other girl's daughter, true story.
Yeah.
But Dana and I said, it's weird. I said, I feel like such a perv because I'm the only one that's seen that.
Yeah.
And the women had seen it. So I go sit down next to Dana. I'm hosting the show, and he goes, Tom, I've been married for 12 years. I've fucking seen it all. I know the show. I go, oh, wow.
Oh my God. I honestly, like, logging in 2 years of Dana Gould, the things that, I mean, I've been around a lot of male stand-ups, but I think he personally pushed the line of what I can laugh, like, it became so horrifying what was funny to me. Like the dark line got so far pushed of what was okay to laugh about.
That's Saget and Coulier.
Because they're so good at it. Because it's like it's so well crafted and it's so dark, and you're like, I can't not laugh at that. And then
I remember, Saget, Bob.
Yeah.
And Dave Coulier.
Yes.
They were, and then they'd be doing this innocent show. And we're up in the dressing room, and Bob's talking about jerking off and then putting his legs up in the air so the jit can come into his mouth or something. It was either him or Dave. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't want to disparage anybody.
No,
I don't want any lawsuits.
No
lawsuits. It might have been me.
Okay, sure. I might have done it. It was probably me. It was probably me.
You.
It was probably me at Moon Tower.
Did you start out doing improv?
I started out, I did stand-up for a hot second, and then I did improv for years. I started in Chicago, and then I did improv for years, and I did sketch. And then I've been doing stand-up again for like 5 years.
Well, who's your manager, Ian?
Ian.
God, he was like the stage mother.
Oh, my God.
I was watching him watch you.
Oh, God.
And he goes, she doesn't do it that much anymore. I said, well, she's a pro. Look at her. What are you worried about? What the fuck's you think is going to happen?
It is, yeah, it's so interesting.
You're supposed to be the one that's nervous.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, yeah, it's interesting. I think I got the rascal in me sometimes, and I think I get a little darker than I think I always.
Once?
I think so. It's like, again, all the time with the guys, you're going to get a little bit dark. And so then what comes out, I think when you look sort of like a macaroon, but then what comes out is like, oh my God, that's pretty dark.
Well, you were very funny, and I loved the way you're so goofy at the bar.
Oh,
you were doing something where you were stretching.
I get moves. You just gotta work it out. I get really physical.
I don't even have any dollars, but thank you.
You know what? That's the most money I've made all year. Just 2 crumpled dollars just thrown. Yeah, I got physical. I gotta get moving.
You're very uninhibited.
Yeah. It's been, I had to
probably ice in bed.
Oh my God. I am like, it's like it is like a dead fish.
Dead fish?
Oh, like an aggressively, it's like a steamrolled over.
Same odor?
Oh my, it is. I mean,
Nice.
Dana says that I have a bush like a canned ham.
How's he know?
He doesn't know. He actually doesn't know.
Oh.
Imagine, that would be so, I actually went through the airport security. They have the new screeners recently.
Yeah,
and
the ones where you hold your hands up.
We have to hold your hands up. And I went through and they stopped me, and there was like a cube, like that's, they say, like, it was like right over my crotch. I'm like, what are they doing?
Right.
Just have like a massive 1970s porn bush, like what was that? Like this, a mon's the size of like an anthill. Like what the hell?
Hedge.
What the hell? What is, like, I couldn't figure out like what was in my pants that was stopping having the airport. But now it makes me want to actually like pad something in there so it happens every time that they have to figure out like what the hell is in your pants. It was amazing.
Did you ever leave any paraphernalia in a suitcase?
No.
I did. I didn't know it was in there. This girl I was going with, she liked being tied up, and she was like, and so there was
Sandra Bullock.
It was Sandra Bullock. There were these pink handcuffs with
oh my God,
with like fur around them. And the guy recognized me.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, Tom, how you doing?" And he goes, "There's something metal in there or something." He goes, "Whoa, huh?" I go, "Oh, jeez." I said, "They're not mine." He goes, "Hey, don't worry about it." Like I'm lying to him. I'm the one that likes,
That's your thing. And they have to be pink, furry, like girl handcuffs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
I never got that. I never got the whole the transvestite thing. It's
interesting. I just did a show with a guy who dates women and wears dresses.
Yeah. That I was crying laughing one time on Oprah because they all said they were straight.
Yeah.
And they were in like evening gowns.
And who are the gals that are like, yeah, sign me up for that. This is my boyfriend Gary.
Well, I don't know if it happened gradually over the years or whether they met him like that.
I would imagine. Oh God, the gradual. That'd be a tough
sick.
ride. You'd have to have your similar quirk to sign up for that. This is gonna sound name droppy. I was just thinking of the first movie I ever did. I had like 3 lines in Deconstructing Harry with Woody Allen, and it was before. So that was like '97, and it was the guy who played Paulie Walnuts, Tony Sherratt.
Yeah.
He had done a few of Woody's movies, and he was there. It was before Sopranos, but like he was like a real deal. Like he used to be like
He was really in jail. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a real deal guy, and so. Everybody else was sort of intimidated with Woody, but he would walk up and just stick him in a headlock and be like,
Really?
I'm going to fucking kill you. And then Woody loved it. And he'd be like, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. And there was like the one guy on the set that wasn't intimidated. He like loved this guy that would like threaten to kill him and stick him in a headlock. It was so interesting.
That is interesting. I can't imagine him being touched. He's like Seinfeld in the sense that Jerry's like, because I asked Jerry one time, I said, why is it that people like grab me and they don't touch you? He goes, you give off like a more open vibe.
Right.
He says, I give off this.
Oh, yeah.
And he does,
I get picked up after every stand-up show by women want to actually physically lift me into the air.
Really?
I have a lot of photos of women holding me like they're taking me over the threshold.
What do you weigh, 110, 115?
Yeah.
What, 110?
114.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
5'7"?
5'4".
Oh, you got the things
I got the heels on. Yeah.
I was going for the carnival thing, but
oh my God, you were good though.
Oh, well, that's what you look. I mean, you look 110.
That's the thing. I'll take it. It's when I've been touring, I gain a little more. It's hard, those hotels, man.
Fucking A.
Nashville. Fun, but.
Did you see, did you meet Brian?
No.
Dorfman?
No.
Didn't he, didn't you work at the Nashville Zanies?
No, I did Wild West Comedy Festival.
Oh, okay.
Which was super fun. I went to Zanies, like, just because some of the shows were there. Ours was at some big theater downtown.
He's the best club owner. Well, he's one of the best. I don't want to say best. I don't want to lose any friends, but
It's such a nice club.
He's a good guy. Really good sense of humor. Doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He cares, but he doesn't care. The perfect blend.
I'm doing Zanies in Chicago in June. Is it the same vibe or?
Zanies in Chicago is a great club. I mean, I did the Laugh Factory because, I worked the Laugh Factory.
Sure.
I'm doing that, actually in the fall. But when do you have anything like a month out that you want to plug?
Yeah, if you go online, I have at my website, Arden Myrin, ARDENMYRIN.com. I'm doing Scottsdale, and in June I'm going to Scottsdale, Seattle, Chicago, and then I'm doing the Improv in Dallas in July.
Oh, cool. Are they all improvs?
I'm doing Parlor Live in Seattle, Stand Up Scottsdale, and Zanies.
Stand Up Live? Or?
No, Stand Up Scottsdale.
Oh.
And then Zanies in Chicago.
There's a lot of clubs out there.
There's so many clubs. There's so many clubs.
So few headliners.
I know, there's so many clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. What do you do when you go on tour and you've got like 4 days in a city, what do you do all day?
I don't do that. I come home.
You come home.
Yeah.
You only do like a night or two.
I usually do, like for the East Coast clubs.
Yeah.
The ones that I know I can draw.
Yeah.
I do Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
Sometimes Thursday. I try never to do Sundays in football season.
Sundays are tough.
Well, I don't like them anyway, and especially during football. I don't feel like not watching football, and I don't feel like having people not come because of football.
Yeah.
But and the NFL is the most popular sport there is.
Yes.
In the United States, anyway.
What's your team?
Whoever I bet on. Whoever I bet on, I have complete allegiance to.
Sure. What's the most money you've ever won? What's the most money you've ever lost?
Not much. Around 1,000.
That's good.
But nothing, I don't bet. I'm not stupid. I don't. I'm too smart to know how ridiculously hard it is.
Yeah.
I'm bet usually 50 and 100, and
that's good.
It's just the juice. It's the fun of beating them.
I love a game.
Yeah, I when you have something on it, it's the worst thing is to bet the under. You know what the under is?
No.
Well, over is anything like say the total combined points. Each team scores 30 points.
Okay.
So it's a 60-point
Yep.
game. If you have 59 points and you have the under, you win. You have 61 points, you win with the over.
Yeah.
But if you have 60 points, it's a push. Only you know what the vig is?
No.
Okay.
I like it. I'm learning.
Well, the vig is what you pay the bookie for
doing
putting
the
bet.
brokering. Yeah.
So that all you do is lose the vig on a push.
Right. How much is a vig usually?
Well, it's all according to how much you spend.
Okay.
It's a percentage.
Okay.
Just like Ian.
Just like Ian.
Just like your agent.
He takes 85%.
That's perfect.
So that sounds about fair.
That's a good deal. You ever do cartoons?
You know what? I do voiceover like campaigns and stuff, but I have not cracked cartoons. But whenever I do campaigns, I'm always like the young boy for like J.C. Penney's or something that's
Really?
like, Mom, like back to school, like this. It's always like a white kid trying to sound street, and it's always a boy.
And you're doing it.
And I'm doing it.
Yeah, I was on a show called Hey Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
And we had, I don't know why they didn't just hire a woman, because one of the boys was a woman.
Yeah.
One of the boys' voices was a woman. And Arnold kept changing every year and a half because he would hit puberty.
Voice.
Excuse me. And I don't know why. I just never understood it. It wasn't my business.
Yeah. How many seasons did you do that?
5.
Was it fun?
I think it was great. I mean, I work with Dan Castellanetto.
Oh, my God.
He's so talented. He's Homer Simpson, for those of you that don't know who Dan is. And I did one episode with Jennifer Tilly that was such a blast.
Was she the Tilly that was in Bullets Over Broadway?
Well, Meg Tilly was in Agnes of God. So
okay. So yes.
Which I never thought was funny.
Oh my! You know what? That was my favorite comedy movie of all time.
Agnes of God. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the music was good.
No, Jennifer Tilly. I think now isn't she like a poker champ?
Yeah.
So and she apparently they have to talk her into doing acting jobs because she loses money from her poker gigs.
Wow. Well, she used to be married to Sam Simon, one of the creators of The Simpsons.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and when she came in, she's got that voice, that real high voice.
Oh yeah.
And she said, and the Craig Bartwell was the director and creator of Hey Arnold, and she said, "Do you want me to do a character voice?" And Craig and I look at each other like, "How much more of a fucking character voice can you do? It's perfect."
Well,
he says, "Just talk as yourself, and we'll change it if we have to." He's trying to be tactful, you know?
Yeah. I have to say, when you watch, it's so interesting. I mean, podcasts, like, I cannot believe like having an odd voice. When you hear yourself, you're like, oh my God,
yeah.
that's what
Well, that's why I asked you. You don't have an odd voice, but you have a distinctive voice.
It's a distinct, yeah.
I was wondering if you ever got into the cartoons. No, I got into them because of stand-up.
Yeah.
So I never went the only thing I did by auditioning was a series called Barnyard, Back at the Barnyard.
Okay.
I did audition, and I was really in a bad mood, and I got it because I was so fucking nasty.
You were grouchy.
Grouchy and miserable and fuck this and...
What's the worst gig you've ever had?
God. What do you mean, like TV or stand-up?
Both. What's your worst night of stand-up and worst TV?
Well, worst night of stand-up was I was in Philly, and I was just starting out. I just cracked Philly, and they were playing backgammon in the front.
Yeah.
They're playing backgammon as I'm on stage. So I leave. I go, fuck this.
Yeah.
And the owner comes and finds me and asks me to go back on stage.
Oh my God.
That was probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
But as far as like TV and stuff, I don't know. I mean, I never had really terrible experiences. It's almost be careful what you wish.
Yeah.
Because I was on Damon's show.
Yeah.
Damon Wayans and Damon's been just always behind.
I just did a show with him last week. He's so nice. He was so funny.
He's funny, yeah.
He's so funny.
He's great. But he, we had a tough time on that show because he was not happy there.
Yeah.
And it came down from him. It was 13 episodes, and we were out. And,
yeah.
And it was. But that was one of the, it was a tough experience. Then I worked on My Wife and Kids with him, and it was fucking hilarious. We'd get the giggles where we'd cry laughing.
That's always my favorite. That is like the biggest pleasure when you can't get through a scene because you're dying of laughter.
We had this one scene. I was a waiter, and Michael Jordan was staying at the hotel.
Yeah.
And he says to me, "Where's Michael Jordan?" And I says, "I can't tell you that."
Yeah.
I said, first of all, I work here this is my hotel. I said, it would be a breach of contract with security and all this. And he goes, "I'll give you $500." I said, "He's right here."
Yeah.
And then I said, for an extra $200, I'll hold them down, baste them like a turkey. You could do whatever you want with them. And we just start going about how different
what are you
ways
gonna do?
what we're going to do to
What are you
Michael
gonna do to
Jordan.
Michael Jordan?
And we were fucking crying, laughing. Now, we couldn't use any of it.
Of course.
But it'd be one of the funniest outtakes.
Pin him down. You're gonna teabag Michael Jordan.
Damn, for 8 out of 5.
I'm gonna hold him down. You teabag. They're like one of the greatest legends. The sports, the three-peat. Yeah, that would be amazing. I have to say, the craziest stand-up, I did one in New York when I first started stand-up in New York. I think was like a bringer show that I did with Zach Galifianakis where everyone bombed, and the front row...
I hate Zach Galifianakis.
Do you?
No, nobody hates nobody hates Zach.
I used to live in his closet. I lived in his closet
Really?
out in Venice. I lived on an air mattress. Not to brag, I lived on an air...
And he finally came out of the closet.
Hey now, aspire to be back at the Laugh Factory. But I remember looking out. It was at Stand Up New York, and there was like people in the front row. It was probably like 1:30 in the morning, and they had they were like passed out on the table, and they had a empty bucket of chicken with 2 upside down like cheap champagne bottles inside of it, and literally we're just like passed out. And there was probably like 2 or 3 other people in the thing, but like we all had to keep going on.
Oh my God.
Or I also did a...
Was Zach on the show?
Zach was on the show.
Did he bring his notes up?
He did. He had his notes. It was before he found the piano. And then there was one I did with Wayne Fetterman that was a benefit, and it was like...
Benefit for Wayne to get more of an act?
for Wayne to get his shit...
I'm kidding, Wayne.
Wayne, we love you, Wayne. I was just kidding, Wayne.
Jokes. It's a comedy podcast at the Laugh Factory.
We're making laugh. We love to laugh. There was...
Who was a laugher?
He was a laugher. We were doing this benefit. It was for like the worst... disease. It was like this worst kids disease of all time. Like, this is terrible.
Oh, I've been there.
And so the parents, and it's not a disease that like anyone's heard of. So it's not like all the parents around the country that have a kid with this worst disease ever, they would get together once a year, and they were all just shit-faced. And we all had been contracted to do like 20 minutes, but Wayne was hosting, so we had to keep getting up. So then they were shit-faced and like screaming at each other. They're like, these people came and gave us their time. And then like a fire lit in the back on one of the tables, and they were just fighting. But Wayne had to keep getting up, and like he had to keep going because he was MC. It was such a pleasure. You know, when all of you bomb and you have to watch your friends go up to the firing squad. We got the giggles. It was bad.
I saw Martin Short bomb so badly. And you know, he's so fucking talented.
Yeah, he's so funny.
I was there with David Steinberg, the comedian, and Charles Fleischer and Martin Short. And all these rich Jews and Italians that work in the garment industry. They couldn't give a fuck about Second City, talent, anything.
They don't care.
All I did was berate them. They loved it. I said, somebody got a free TV.
Yeah.
I said, like, you need a free TV. We're going to throw it at the back of your maid's head.
Yeah.
Like you give a fuck.
Yeah.
But Martin was bombing so bad. You know what the Jews call davening?
No.
Davening is when they start like praying and going wailing and oh
my God, yeah.
And he just started doing that. We're fucking crying and to see somebody that talented not getting laughs was so funny.
Oh my God, it's such a pleasure when you're all bombing and you know.
Well, we didn't all bomb. He did.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You're right. You're right.
But it made it funnier to us.
Oh my
I know
God.
what you mean.
Yeah,
Because that's just a relief.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not just me that sucks. Everybody sucks.
Now, okay, what's not necessarily to you, but I'm always fascinated by how people deal with hecklers. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen, like, of somebody shutting down a heckler?
Well, I was here for New Year's Eve. This is pretty funny. Was this girl? One of the waitresses. We have really pretty waitresses here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's Hollywood.
Sure.
And she said that the girl was ugly and she looked like a dolphin and all this shit. And the guy goes, that's enough. And I said, you know, so I laid into her.
Yeah.
And she gets mad at me, and they threw her out, and he went out with her, and she fucking clocks him outside.
Yes.
Which the funniest part of it was because for sticking up for me.
Yeah.
And then after she punched him in the face, then they start making out. You know, I mean, it wasn't.
They needed your pink handcuffs. They needed your pink handcuffs to go finish the evening.
Yeah, I don't really have that many bad experiences. I just have unusual ones one of the worst was I was in San Diego and I was working with, Dan Fouts is.
No.
Dan was a quarterback for the Chargers. There was this guy, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Who was one of the best running backs ever, and me, 3 of us. Right?
Sure.
And it was about cancer and a cancer thing and all this. And I had just lost my sister to cancer.
Yeah.
So they show these things. So I'm crying. I got to go on stage fucking crying.
Yeah.
So I acknowledged it.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care if I'm a comedian. I'm a fucking human being.
Yeah.
I lost my sister, and even if I didn't, this is so sad.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I supposed to do? Jokes? Give me a minute.
Yeah.
And then I got into the, to the act, as we call it in the trade.
Yeah. You got to dust yourself off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But what's the woman's name from Sex and the City? The tall, funny one.
Kristen Johnson. No?
No.
One of the regulars?
On Sex and the City.
The blonde,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
blonde,
talking.
foxy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was a jock sniffer in Porky's.
Oh, yeah.
She's a really funny girl. And her and I, a couple of people, were doing a thing in New York State, and another one, now the comedy of Don Irrera, they're like a leukemia thing, and you see kids with shaved heads, and especially when it comes to children, it's like it's
awful.
bad enough.
It's awful.
Yeah, I don't know what they should do, but I think they should have a break in between and have dessert and coffee, and then say, "No, all right, we're going to cheer up a little, have the comedy part." You should never follow
It feels
graphic pictures.
Yeah, it feels so inappropriate.
It is inappropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because it's like, you're a human being. It feels complete, and they're like, no, we want. And
You're not
there's
just
something.
a fucking wind-up machine.
Yeah,
You got feelings.
And it also just feels so like almost disrespectful. Like after they do the whole, one time I was doing do you know who Christina Pazitsky is?
Yeah, I do.
She's a blonde girl. She says that her comedy spirit animal is Roseanne. Like she's sort of like this cute girl who's like grouchy and kind of doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
She did it. I had to follow her at Flappers, and she had this. I was I was closing the show, and I looked through the window. I'm like, I'm gonna just check out the crowd, and I walk in to see Christina leaning into just tearing apart this girl in the front row, who I guess had been drunk and bothering everybody all night. But she goes, you're a dumb cunt. And in 10 years, when nobody's going to want to fuck you anymore, like no one's going to care what you have to. I mean, literally, it was the most tearing apart.
This is one of my bits,
And I remember just thinking, oh my God, I have to follow that. Like, I mean, she just destroyed. And I think that in a weird way, this woman had been just out of control, but then they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Arden Myrin. Like the woman was still there, and I had to follow.
Did you say anything to her?
You know what? There was a moment where she was so drunk that I went into New England polite mode, just act like it didn't happen. Let's just don't look them in the eye. I'm like, let's just act like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And eventually they stumbled out, but it was like, I have never seen someone shut someone down so hard. It was fascinating.
I always find if you can, it's good to acknowledge the situation. Like when I first came out here, I was at a spot at the Improv on a Saturday night, and I was following Robin Williams and Jay Leno.
Yeah.
And I acknowledged it.
Yeah.
I says, look, I'm following these two guys. I said, what am I supposed to do? Fly around a room?
Yeah.
I said, I don't even know who I am, let alone you don't know who I am.
You've got to.
And they clapped for that,
I think I would have if the drunk lady hadn't still been there. She was still there.
Yeah, that's weird.
And she would have kept talking. It was like,
no.
My God.
That's when the club has to throw somebody out.
They should have gotten rid of her.
Yeah,
she was still there. She was still sitting there.
That is funny, though. In 10 years, and nobody's going to want to fuck you.
Nobody's going to want to fuck you. It's just it was fascinating to be it was really like, whoa. I can't even imagine finding the words for that or shutting somebody down that well. That was an impressive shutdown.
But did it faze her?
Apparently afterwards, the girl came out and was like, she thought it was a great show. Afterwards, the girl was like, I was the one. She thought she was she thought she was an addition. She made it fun. She thought it was
the other one. They're going to help you.
Yeah.
How much help do you think we need?
Yeah, I'm the one that's not going to get fucked in 10 years.
Yeah, right.
I'm that one. I'm the one that wouldn't shut up. Yeah.
Actually, nobody wants to fuck me now.
Yeah, nobody. I haven't been fucked in years. Yeah, it was fascinating to watch that.
You ever do corporate?
You know what? I think I'm a little too dirty for corporate. I think I get a little too sassy. Do you?
Not much. I used to. I don't do colleges. I gave up colleges when I think it was at Tulsa, and the beer was downstairs, so it was a constant movement the whole show. And I thought, fuck it, I don't need the money that badly.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah, it's interesting when you're in the it's like still kind of light out and you're sort of in the middle of a student center and
Yeah.
people are walking by, and I mean, sometimes I like them, and some it depends where you are.
What other films have you done?
I've done oh my God, let's see. I was in What Women Want, and I was in Bubble Boy, and I just did a bunch of films that went to Sundance that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then I was in Bachelorette that came out like with Kirsten Dunst, and
She's talented, huh?
she's super talented.
Yeah.
And Lizzie Kaplan, so there's this French director that he directed this like cult hit called Rubber that's like about this killer tire, and so I've done a bunch of movies with him that go to Sundance. He always writes I always play a villain, which is fun.
And how much are you pursuing stand-up now? Like,
You know what? I'm doing it a lot.
That's good.
I really
You got so many credits. I'm sure that you could sell tickets.
Well, what's been interesting was I think I realized part of the reason I wasn't doing it, honestly, when I first started doing it, I was like 20, and I think I just didn't. I mean, who wants to? I didn't know who I was as much then.
Well, yeah, 20-year-old doesn't have.
And a 20-year-old
shit.
gal, you all right? Didn't get on you.
No, I just had this rug clean.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
It looks so beautiful.
How did I do that? Oh, I did it with the wire.
I've done that onto a computer before. Yeah, it's not good.
Mama.
Yeah.
Mama, see, let me tell you about Puddles the Clown.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so last year, I see there's a 6'9" clown,
Oh my God.
literally dressed as a clown. They call him Puddles. He has a beautiful singing voice.
He had a very famous thing last year when he did Lord Royal. He did a cover of Royals for Lord song. Like,
He did?
yeah, it went viral.
Okay.
And it was beautiful.
So I see him the first night, and I'm not a real wuss or anything, but he was menacing.
Yeah.
He just stood there and like, I did a thing on him on stage about, about clowns in general and just the whole thing. I've never heard anybody go, man, you got to see this clown.
Yeah.
I was on the floor. I mean, you like clowns, right? Like any other guy. And I was doing the whole thing about clowns. And then I went back there, and he was just fucking staring at me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, this guy's going to fucking kill me. I'm going to get killed by a clown.
He's a scary clown.
But then I was doing Mark Maron's podcast, and he was downstairs, and he just started talking to me like regular. See, because we'll only talk regular once in a while in the clown outfit.
Right.
And he told me he was a fan of mine and all this shit. But I mean, I was like, oh, I said, I thought you wanted to kill me. He goes, no, it was cool to meet you. It was just in character, I guess, whatever.
You had to stay like that.
And the wife puts a monkey face on and eats bananas on the side. Did you see that?
I didn't see, because when I met him with you, I met both of them. They were not in makeup.
Oh, that's right. He didn't have the outfit
So
on.
it was sort of a good way to meet him, because he's actually like this really nice, engaging guy.
He played ping pong the next day in the ping pong tournament.
Oh, I bet he must have destroyed.
I think he lost.
Too tall to be.
I don't know.
You need a lower
cover
center
the
of
whole
gravity.
Table.
Yeah, you'd think in a weird way you could just really nail it.
But anyway, that was bizarre just seeing him up there. Wouldn't you fucking hate that, though?
Being a clown.
Well, I hate being a clown, but I also hate to have to put the makeup on and
yeah.
the whole fucking outfit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had one prop in my life. It was a big cigar. I used to do this lounge comedian.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, what do you call a dog with no legs? Nothing, no matter what you call him, he ain't coming. Ooh, Is this thing on? Is this thing on? And I had the big cigar, and then I just dropped the cigar.
Yeah, the props are a good thing. Like, and then it's like I don't ever. Yeah, no. I had a prop. I had a joke journal from like 1995 that had like Mary Kay Letourneau jokes in it. I had a joke. I was saying that I found like an old joke journal, and so I did all these things that were current in 95.
Uh-huh. When did you start stand up?
I started stand up again 5 years ago.
Okay.
So, but yeah, well, I realized like, because I do Chelsea lately, and people kept trying to, when I was on MadTV, and I think people kept trying to book me to do stand-up, and I was like, no, I just do improv.
Yeah.
And then I realized part of the reason I wasn't doing it was because I was scared of it, and I was like, well, that's not a good enough reason to not do it.
Yeah.
And so it's been so fun to, I think, do it sort of with knowing who I am a little more, and I've been really enjoying it and seeing who you are on stage and what your version of it is, and I do get to get really physical and learning your voice, and I don't know, it's actually been, not to be cheesy, but it's been like it's been sort of a personal, like, it's been really fun to kind of push yourself and to take risks and to see what you can get away with.
Well, I noticed when you went all the way down stage,
Yeah.
I felt like you were really like, not to sound like the director, but you were like embracing the character more because you went into that area of the stage. You remember?
Yeah. Yes.
And you went down all the way to the edge of the stage, and that's when I thought that your agent or manager looked the most afraid because he didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, I think he also didn't really. I mean, that in the night you saw it, and I mean, you were very that. I did 5 shows there, and that was the one. I picked the wrong set for the room.
Yeah.
But like
you said that I don't know what your other sets were, so it looked good to me.
But I appreciate, you know, and it was sort of like what I appreciated was like, I think I've learned to not. I think all the years of doing improv has like taught me to never bail on yourself. So it's sort of like, I almost like when people, if they're not at first with you, it's almost like, fuck you, I'm gonna crack you, I'm gonna get you, like, and so it sort of, I get a little, it makes you kind of have to go get them, like, no, you're gonna fucking laugh, like, I'm gonna come at you until I crack you, and it's sort of good. I get the little fighter in me.
Well, I was doing these shows in Australia, and they had me, quote, headlining, but you're really not headlining. All you are is the last act.
Yeah.
Because they're all doing 10 minutes.
Yes, right.
And a lot of them go over.
Right, sure.
And one guy said to me, boy, he said, the set you had the other night. I said, but I went on 3rd.
Right.
I said, like, that's the easiest spot in the show.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
I wasn't better or worse.
Right.
The spot was better.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's interesting. And some crowds also are just more like, some crowds, I don't know, it's fun when you can ride the wave, you know?
Isn't it interesting how you get like, I've been at the Comedy Store, gotten a big laugh, and then come here and got nothing, and the same thing.
Same set.
And I'm thinking, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And thinking, did I just get that much funnier or run funnier in 20 minutes?
That's why it is good to do it a lot and just to see.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I liked about about his documentary, about like not blaming the audience and just kind of, but you keep doing it. Like I liked his analogy when he got good at it was when he saw like the guys who were going back to work, who were like the construction workers, and it wasn't whether or not they felt like it, they just went and did it because it was their job.
Jerry was always good.
Was he?
Yeah. From the very beginning.
He was.
Yeah.
He's such a smart writer.
Well, when I saw him, he was already polished.
Right.
I saw him. I started out. I passed in 1980.
Yeah.
And he was already doing it 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And he was the best then.
So interesting.
You know, I mean, but then and it's also so subjective. You know, sometimes the people that make you laugh the most are not necessarily the best comedians.
No.
I mean, Andy Kindler.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love him.
Makes me cry laughing.
He is so funny to me. I saw him do a set at Sketchfest last year at San Francisco Sketchfest, and he started attacking the audience about like not knowing his references. Like, God, he's funny.
Great. He's great. I mean, to be a name dropper, I was at Daniel Tosh's house yesterday watching the basketball game, and he says, you got to see Kindler's set on Letterman.
Oh my God.
And, you know, I think Andy would love the fact that the two of us were standing there fucking howling, laughing at him.
I got to look it up.
He goes, folks, I don't write this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I got to fire my writers.
Yeah,
He was here one time.
I don't write this stuff.
Yeah. I used to have a show called Supreme Court of Comedy.
Yeah.
And I had to stop them from taping for a minute because I was crying, laughing. He was becoming more nebbishy, Jewishy, shorter. He was like going into the ground, everything. And then I said the punchline.
Watching, I love sometimes when, like, 'cause, I mean, I thought he was doing hilarious. I mean, but watching him, if the crowd didn't laugh at one of his jokes, and then watching him attack the crowd made me laugh fucking hard.
That's what he's his best at because he's a guy who used to bomb a lot.
Yeah.
And now he became extremely funny, but still his best things are when his retorts to bombing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
That's interesting.
Well, like we were in Ireland, him and I, in a comedy festival, and he had a great set. And it was on before me. I says, Andy didn't know what to do.
Yeah, right.
When he was getting laughs.
Right. He's better when he's swinging up.
Yeah.
Jen Kober. Do you know Jen Kober? She was at Moon Tower. She's super funny, and she did like a 15-minute set, and I was like, that. You know, I hadn't seen her in a while. I was like, Jen, that was hilarious. She's like, Really? Because I had fun for 1 minute, and the rest of the 14 minutes felt
Was
like
she a lesbian?
yeah, lesbian, sort of a bigger gal,
Oh, yeah,
short
yeah,
hair,
yeah.
super funny.
She was funny, very funny, yeah.
And she goes, I had fun for 1 minute, but for 14 other minutes, I felt like I was reading a slow suicide note on stage. There's just something about, like, and again, she killed, but like, there's something about this, the beauty of watching people torture themselves. Like, when you get to know people and their torture, like, everyone tortures themselves, and it's so funny to me.
I'd rather somebody say that they did all right than somebody say they crushed.
Oh,
and all
God.
This is like, and especially you're talking to other comedians, like, we were there. You know, what are you talking about?
You're right. There's always guys killed it. I killed it. Like,
first of all, you're supposed to get laughs. You're a professional comedian,
right?
And to me, killing is a spontaneous standing ovation. Like when the whole fucking place is going crazy.
Right.
Other than that, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
That's right. It's your job.
You know, you're supposed to get laughs. My God, like, I mean, you know, some people, they were great. Really, they're really attentive. They listened to every word. They were hanging on every word. That's why they weren't laughing.
Yeah, just really attentive. Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, people are I think I've always been drawn to people who are a little more self-deprecating. There's something like, who wants to hang out with I killed it.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's just horrible. Do you know Steve Heitner, the guy who played Kenny?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
He was also on the show with Dana and I, and Dana Gould and I. He was on Working with Fred, and he's so he came up with Jerry. I didn't know if you knew him from New York.
I did. I knew Steve. I always liked Steve.
He was my officiant at my wedding.
Really?
It was like, and then Dana was a groom. It was a very ragtag group of people.
How great was his character on Seinfeld?
Oh my God. Oh my, I tour with him sometimes. People go crazy for him. Banya. The hack comic, Kenny Banya. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. It's gold. It's gold.
You know, my ex-wife was the mother of the ugly baby.
Oh, really?
Oh, and she was so fucking funny.
Was she?
Remember her on that? Jerry, the baby.
The baby, Jerry, the baby.
And Kramer would go like this, look at the baby.
That show was so good.
Oh, best.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I can keep watching.
I'm always blown away. They were all such good actors, too. I mean,
they're great. Every one of them is. I mean, it's pretty amazing that Michael Richards got away with taking it so far over the top.
Yeah.
But it worked.
It did. Because he's almost like an old school, like his physicality was almost like...
Oh, it's definitely.
Like a clown or like Buster Keaton or like, just...
He was falling and he was great at it.
So like so controlled with his... like it was so... like what an athlete to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then George Costanza, I mean, the acting...
Oh. When he does the thing where he wants to postpone the wedding.
Oh my God, the best. And then they kill her. Well,
see, that's Larry David.
That's the best. They could get away with killing her with licking the envelopes. It's the best.
And there's no sitcom ever that would have done that. You know, like it's so dark. That's so Larry. Remember that thing? You know the Beatles?
Yes.
You know the Beatles pretty well.
Yeah.
Remember the song? It's getting better all the time.
Yes.
And McCartney wrote that song pretty much, but Lennon put in the line, "It couldn't get much worse."
Yeah.
And that was Jerry and Larry.
Yes.
Because Jerry was, you know, not that he's fluff, he's intelligent.
Right.
But he was lighter.
Right.
A lighter heart, lighter humor. Who are these people?
Right.
And Larry was just fucking.
Larry was more like Costanza.
Dark.
More Costanza.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was Larry. That was supposed to be. Yeah. That was supposed to be Larry, and Elaine was Carol Leifer.
Who's so great. And
she was fucking hilarious. I saw her at the Craig Ferguson taping.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her for years. She's so fucking funny.
She's so fucking funny. She
jumps on me.
She's so funny.
She jumped on me like a monkey.
Yeah.
And just start going,
Yeah.
Like,
that's what you want.
Kills me.
And Elaine was such a babe, if I could just say. Like,
I
aside from hilarious, but like such a foxy lady.
She was. She is.
She looks fantastic.
When she started tapping the counter with the recipe for the soup.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So great.
I can't even. I mean, the fact that they all ended up that it wrapped up cynical with them
indifferent, going to jail for indifference.
I
thought it was brilliant, and a lot of people didn't like it. What the fuck did they expect from it?
I agree with you. I loved it.
I was on an episode.
What'd you play?
I played a prop comic called Ronnie K.
That's amazing. What were your props?
I had a chicken. I had like a rubber chicken. I had a water pistol. Was the end of the thing because I pull out the water pistol, and Jason George Costanza kept punking out on everything.
Oh my God!
And right at the end, he punks out again because I have my water pistol out, and he goes, "He's got a gun. The man has a gun."
Oh my God!
You know, because everything this is the episode. There was a clown in the episode, John Favreau or something.
Yeah.
That actor, really good actor.
Yeah.
And they cut to the two of them. The dialogue was something like, "How could you not know Bozo?" And the clown goes, "Listen, man, it's just a gig. I don't know no Bozo. I'm sure he was a big clown in the '60s or something. But you got to let that go."
Oh my God! You've never heard of Bozo?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And Jerry had a bit in his stand-up. He going, "Do you really need the clown after Bozo?" Isn't that kind of assumed?
The clown.
But it was a very fun episode, and that was the one. You know, Jerry got heckled at the New York Times came to see him, and the woman who heckled him, Jerry went to her job and heckled her.
Oh my God.
And NBC cut out a lot because they thought it was too mean.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really mean, really funny.
What? Oh my God! I like.
Yeah, but they'd probably leave it in today.
I have to say that that's the thing. It's you gotta go a little dark and mean if it's from a truthful. Deep down inside, we're all horrible people. You know what I mean? Or we all have our quirks. Like there's sides of us that are all not generous and all flawed and
Of course.
and that's what's so great.
Except you, quite frankly. I'm not trying to stroke you, but
Thank you, Tom.
Do you remember the Woody Allen bit about the horrible and the miserable?
No.
He said that the horrible are the people who have no arms and legs and are begging in the streets of Calcutta and suffering, blind, crippled people.
Yeah.
Oh, just people that are just totally at the edge of death.
Yeah.
And the rest of us are miserable. Great.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. You know what I was talking about this weekend? Did you see the documentary about Joan Rivers that came out a couple years ago?
No, I heard it was great.
It was so amazing. It was just watching. Somebody was talking about just flying around and traveling and stuff. And she in the movie was probably, I don't know how old she is now. She was probably 75. And it was right before her comeback. It was right before The Apprentice and the Fashion Police and watching her hoof it, just as a workhorse flying around, and she had an old library system of all of her jokes on cards, and then she would be in her bathroom just writing out these cue cards on her hands and knees, and then flying to Minnesota in the middle of the winter, and just grateful to get to go do it. And
imagine what she went through because of being a woman.
I read both of her
in those days.
I've read her books.
She was like a Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, and she kept doing it pregnant and stuff. She did it, and she came from her. I read her first two books, which were really well written and interesting, and that she would haul around. She was a doctor's daughter from Larchmont, New York, and she was expected to sort of marry a nice. And
is she Jewish?
Yes, she's Jewish.
Kidding you.
Okay.
Come on, I pulled you in.
But she would haul around. She had this amplifier recording system, and she would haul around this recorder to all of her sets, and she would open for strippers and stuff in Boston. And she wanted to be a serious actress. She took classes with Barbara
really?
Streisand and did a couple plays, and it was just interesting reading about what she went through, and that she's still so relevant. So some of her jokes in the movie, they're so dark, they're so edgy.
Yeah, she's great. I know. I've done a radio show a couple times, but she had that in New York.
She's so good.
The only time I ever met her.
Was she nice?
Yeah, very nice.
God, she's funny. She kills me.
Yeah. The strongest female stand-up that I worked with growing up was Roseanne.
You know what?
When she hit the right place, the right time with the right act.
Where did she?
Comedy Store, Denver.
Denver
first. I think Denver Comedy Works, and then she came out here, and
she just killed it.
She was perfect. We used to work Vegas together.
Yeah.
Just the whole the housewife, it had never been done before.
Yeah.
It was like an untapped resource. And now now you see it in especially in ethnicities. Now you see a Muslim comedian or whatever different a gay Asian woman comedian.
Right. But she was the first. I remember as a kid watching who I thought was so good was Paula Poundstone. Was And then, she had, like, I'm sorry that but, like, she was so smart and funny. And
Yeah. I love Paula, and I think she's very, very bright, but she's a little bit too long-winded for me in between laughs.
Right.
A little too preachy and very smart, and I hope that this doesn't come out, and hurt her feelings because I love her, but I just, what I'm saying about Roseanne, she could really fucking punch out a set.
She just went it.
Boom, yeah.
Who inspired you? Like, when you were, like, who made you want to be a comedian?
Woody Allen.
God, he's good.
When I was a little kid, I remember lifting weights and listening to him. And you don't think that some wise-ass Italian kid in Philly is going to like this, Jewish New York humor, but I loved it.
I have to say, I just watched the documentary that they made about him. Like, it was I think PBS did or something, but it was like 5 or 6 episodes long. And
oh yeah, I heard about that.
I wasn't as familiar with his early stand-up.
His early stand-up.
Oh
was
my
great.
God! So they had it, and they even just like some of the jokes because I guess he was like in high school, and he would mail in jokes, and just his joke writing was so.
Remember the bullet thing?
Oh, so smart and funny.
Remember the bullet bit?
I don't think I heard that one.
I had a bullet. I put it in my breast pocket. While walking down the street, a berserk evangelist heaved a Gideon Bible out a hotel window, striking me in the chest. Had it not been for the bullet, the Bible would have gone through my heart. I love his stuff. I'm sorry he got in so much turmoil. Whatever.
I know.
I don't know what to believe.
I know it is hard.
Here's a good name dropper story. Sean Penn is a brilliant, has a brilliant memory for stand-up comedy.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't think of him as a clown or goofy, but he loves stand-up. And he used to, I knew him from the Ridgemont High days, before he went out with Madonna over at the Comedy Store.
I just rewatched that. I guess he was so good in that.
Oh, he's great.
I wish he would do a comedy again.
He's a great actor.
He was amazing.
He wanted to do, he actually called me up, he was directing a comedy, and if the finances fell through, and I would have been, if it had, who knows, but I was supposed to be De Niro's brother.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Fucking cool would that be? But anyway, I said to him, he saw me at the Improv one night, and he goes, he starts going through bits that I couldn't even remember that I had. He goes, you ever do that thing? And I said, look, if you want to talk about comedy, I'll do it, but you got to do me one thing. Tell me what it was like to work with Woody Allen.
Oh my God.
He said he gave me one note the whole film. Remember he did that?
Yeah, Sweet and Low Down.
Sweet and Low Down. And he goes, one note the whole. I said, what was it? He goes, that last scene you did, nothing was right. That was his notes. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool.
I have to say, when I auditioned, it was the first movie I ever did. It was one of my first jobs.
You auditioned for Woody?
Yeah, and I was just excited to
Did
audition.
Did he give you any feedback at all? Or?
Well, he was really nice to me when you audition. There was like this. It's on the Upper East Side. I can't remember the name of it, but there's this hotel that has like this screening room. So you go audition for his casting director, Juliet Taylor.
Yeah.
And then she brings people.
Ellen Lewis? Did Ellen Lewis still work with her?
Yeah. Who's so nice.
Yeah.
And then he sits. They warn you like not to shake his hand or anything. But then he shook my hand. He was really nice. But he watches from across the room, and he watches you like this. I think to see how you would look on camera.
Wow.
And I did it twice, and then I got the call that I got it, and I hyperventilated. It's the only time in my life I've ever hyperventilated. Really? And then he was so kind, and it was interesting because they only filmed when it was overcast. So I actually, I had 2 scenes in the movie, but I probably should have just shot 2 days, but it ended up being like a month because you would go and you'd get dressed and it would either rain or it'd be sunny, but it was because he wanted that sort of New York in the fall look. Yeah. So, and all the clothes were either shades of brown. There was no blues allowed to make it sort of that autumnal New York thing. And so it was interesting because all the other actors, my scenes were and it was before he was super, like Paul Giamatti, and then Paulie Walnuts, and then Phil Bosco, and we would play like word games. And waiting for either to shoot or the sun to come out.
All this time you're getting paid.
All this time we're getting paid, and Woody was really nice. And at the end, it was so devastating. But at the end, he goes, "Well, see you on the next one." And then they offered me a part in Celebrity, but I had just booked that show with Dana and Steve. I would just book working, so I couldn't do it. And I've never gone in for him. It was literally the first episode we were shooting, so I had to turn it down, and I was like, oh.
How cool is that to turn down a Woody Allen movie?
I know, I turned it down. It was the worst.
I turned down Carol Burnett show once.
You did?
It was not the Carol Burnett show, the famous one. But
Yeah.
it was the one on Showtime because I got a series with Cheech Marin on NBC.
I worked with him once. I loved him.
Great guy, yeah.
Great guy.
We did one episode and there was a writer's strike.
Oh my God.
Then we did another episode without the writers and then they folded. We never did it again. But
It's devastating when you have to turn things down.
I had to turn down a Carol Burnett show. Who the fuck am I? And
I know.
I had two things at once, and it always happens like
It
that.
does. And you can't believe, and it's always like, and it always somehow, for me, like, the 2 times I've had to turn things down, it's like, I'd so much rather do the thing that I have to turn down. Like,
Well, you know,
it's,
yeah.
you're like, I'd so much, like, I would turn, but you've already locked into something else. Yeah. Yeah.
Was it exciting to get Mad TV?
It wasn't, it was super exciting to get Mad TV. It, I tested for SNL opposite Amy Poehler, and then so like when she got that, I kind of knew I probably wouldn't go that path. So then it was nice because at the time there were 2 sketch shows. So I was super excited to get Mad TV. It's super excited to be able to do it.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to like get a show on the air. I did a lot of pilots that didn't get picked up, and
Well, but why don't you do? Don't you love when people tell
my
you
God,
that?
yeah.
Like it's
Why
that
you
easy?
should do more? You should do movies. It's like,
Yeah.
I never think, yeah.
I think I said this on the show before, but my friend O'Hanlon's mother, when I first moved to New York, she goes, why don't you do like a soap opera so you can get a real acting job?
Oh my God, I wish you were on a soap opera. I wish you were like the king of
Me.
all my children. And you and Erica Kane ran off.
I was on a scene on All My Children.
Yes.
With, I played a priest who was giving out communion. And it was an under 5. You know what under 5s are?
Yep.
Yeah. Under 5s, for those of you who don't know, I think I talked about this before. Under 5 lines, they pay at a different scale. If you say over 5 lines, you're a principal. And my thing was body of Christ, blood of Christ. But I kept turning it into almost like a Peter Lorre character.
Oh my God.
Body of Christ, blood of Christ, body of Christ,
Blood of Christ. Yeah, me, sir.
And we, oh no, don't Johnny. And we got the giggles. So me, Erica, and this guy Tom.
What did he play?
Well, he was marrying Erica in the dream, and the smoke was coming up.
Oh my God.
Body of Christ.
I used to watch that show with my mom every day as a little kid. We would watch it.
You might have seen me.
I bet I did. I wish I did in Pine Valley. And there was the period where she was marrying. There was like this guy who had an evil twin. There was one who was evil, and then his twin was like was like mentally touched.
They do a lot of twin things.
They do a lot of twin things. There's a lot of twin
Coming
things.
back from the dead.
Back from the dead because they tried a movie career and it didn't work out. And guess who's back from the dead?
I had a friend of mine. She was in Fiddler on the Roof with me in college. She was really cute. She played the one who sings "Far from the Home I Loved." You know that play?
Yeah.
And she was doing really well as a soap opera queen. And she quit to come out here.
It doesn't happen.
Nothing. And she said to me, and she was a real Boston girl. She goes, it fucking floored me. She goes, I used to be the hottest chick in high school and college. I went in the room. Every one of them was hotter than me.
That's the thing. I think you wanna not be the hot chick in high school or college. Like, you can't peak in high school or college. You got to be the freaky one.
Right.
You got to be the freaky one. Because that's what LA is. Every hottest girl from their hometown comes out like, and there's like, and it's like, and then.
But you got a good combination of hot and silly.
Well, thank
you.
No,
because to act as silly as you do, with as good as you look, and I'm not trying to turn into a Sammy Maudlin show. May I say she's a beautiful human being? But you know what I mean? Like, a lot of times the girls are reticent on acting silly. And like when you did that thing that night, I was laughing. You didn't even see me laughing at you.
I looked like Ron Howard till I was like 14. So I honestly think that's like I think you're wiring of like what your like the hard drive is, like what the internal operating system is.
Yeah.
So I was like mistaken for a boy until like I had red hair and my mom would like cut it short and I had brothers and stuff, and so I would want to be playing Barbies, and they just make me be like Chewbacca, and I would be wearing my brother's old clothes.
Where'd you grow up?
Little Compton, Rhode Island. I'm straight out of Compton.
Straight out of Compton?
I'm straight out of Compton.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Get over here. Rhode Island accents are crazy too. How's your mother? And get over here. And so that's like, I think when you grow up with boys and you look like a boy.
You don't look like a boy.
Well, not anymore. You want to be a late bloomer.
So let me get it straight. Your Twitter is what?
at ardenmyrin.com.
And you're coming up, like, say, what gigs you got coming up?
I have the first
Improv.
weekend of June, I got Scottsdale. And then the second weekend, I got Seattle. Third weekend, I got Chicago.
Chicago Zanies.
Chicago Zanies. Chicago Zanies. Parlor Live Seattle. Stand Up Scottsdale. Improv Dallas.
Very good. I'll be at the Montreal Comedy Festival hosting the All-Star Show, whatever the fuck that means, because I kill. I'll be at the Tropicana in the big room, not to be mistaken with the Comedy Club, the first weekend of August, and Denver Comedy Works in September.
That'll be fun.
Yes, great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Arden Myrin, give her a hand, you bastard.
That's how you do it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Strong legs.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
It's like to throw the baloney in that
Look at
meat
that.
wagon.
Look at that. Just look at that. I need you to look at that and think about how badly you behaved.
Yes, mistress.
I need you to look at that and think how bad. That's the voice that'll ruin everything.
Yeah.
You behave badly.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
See you next week.